Why are the shapes and designs of the divine tree people so weird, looking almost like insects? Or how did Ikemoto actually find references when designing their bodies? In a previous video, Ikemoto revealed it during a Q&A session this month. But regardless of what was revealed so simply, I want to invite you guys over the next few minutes to take a look and consider further how the bodies of the divine tree people came to be. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm Nim without an E, and I hope you guys can help me reach 100 likes or 1K hype points. Thanks a lot, guys. So yeah, back to the topic. If you've ever seen their designs from behind, you might think, is this a Shinju or a newly evolved beetle? Because honestly, ever since they appeared, the Shinju designs have been kind of weird in the eyes of some Naruto fans. Many have even trashed and looked down on the villains of this series, right? Either way, the divine tree people don't just look like humans turned into trees. There's something about their body shape that feels off. And I'm sure at this point, you agree with me. From the front, they still look like humanoid characters, but check them out from the back. It's not just the silhouette. It literally looks like something way closer to an insect. Especially Mamushi, he might actually fit better as an insect. The more we look, the more their designs remind us of beetles, cicadas, or insects usually tied to trees. But the question now is this just a weird design because Ikemoto wanted the Shinju to look alien, as Naruto fans say? Or is there an actual reason they were made to look like insects? If the goal was just to make them look weird, there are plenty of ways to do that. But the Shinju have shapes that indirectly remind us of specific organisms. There are body parts that feel like shells, back structures resembling armor, and a silhouette from behind that gives off the vibe of an insect standing with a human body. This gets way more interesting when we remember one key fact: the Shinju come from the divine tree. And yep, that's our main point for the next few minutes. Now, before we start matching everything up and suddenly concluding that every Shinju is a specific beetle species or something, we need to step back for a second. Again, at this point, there's no confirmation that Kishimoto or Ikemoto actually based the Shinju designs on specific insects, other than what was revealed in the last video. So this isn't a here are the facts behind the Shinju design breakdown. Instead, it's more about a pattern that I think is pretty interesting to look at. Because when we look at the Shinju designs and then look at tree-dwelling organisms, a few similarities start feeling a bit too interesting to ignore. First, we gotta look back at the concept of the divine tree. In the Naruto world, the divine tree isn't just a giant tree standing in the middle of the world. It's directly tied to chakra and life. The tree absorbs life energy from the planet and eventually produces the chakra fruit. So right from the start, the divine tree concept is closely tied to the relationship between organisms and life resources. It grows by absorbing something from its environment. And when the Shinju appear, they become part of that system. Now let's look at the real world. Plenty of insects have a super close relationship with trees. One example is the Asian longhorn beetle. Its shape is pretty interesting because its body has a hard armor-like structure and a distinct silhouette when viewed from above or behind. But what's cooler isn't just its look. The larvae of this insect actually develop inside tree wood. So the tree isn't just a place to stand or find food, it's a vital part of its life cycle. Then there's the emerald ash borer. Looking at its shape, you can instantly see why people might connect it to creatures like the Shinju. It has a hard body structure that feels like small armor. But again, the visuals aren't the only cool part. The emerald ash borer has a deep connection to ash trees, with larvae developing under the bark by eating the tissue inside. In large numbers, their activity disrupts the tree's vital systems and causes serious damage. This brings up a pretty interesting concept: organisms that live off a tree but can destroy it at the same time. Doesn't that sound a bit familiar? Looking at the Shinju, they also come from something tied to the divine tree, yet their existence brings a threat to the life around them. They aren't just tree dwellers. They are beings with goals, targets, taking life, and evolving as a new threat in that world. So if their design was inspired by tree-dwelling organisms, the concept fits symbolically. And it's not just the emerald ash borer. There's the bronze birch borer, mountain pine beetle, Japanese beetle, and all sorts of other insects connected to plants or trees. Of course, we shouldn't label all of them as tree-destroying insects, since each has different behaviors and ecological roles. Some attack tree tissue, Some develop inside the wood, some eat plant parts, and others actually serve important ecosystem functions. But generally, they paint the same picture. Trees are a vital part of their lives, right? However, there's one possibility I find way more interesting than just the Shinju look like beetles or cockroaches. What if those insects are being used as a symbol? We often see trees as symbols of life. They grow, offer shelter, provide food, and serve as key parts of an ecosystem. At the same time, trees are home to many other organisms. Insects live on their bark, grow inside them, leach nutrients from their tissue, or even cause the tree to die under certain conditions. So a tree can be a source of life for one creature while being a food source for another. If we use that concept to understand the Shinju, the relationship gets pretty complex. The divine tree is something massive and central to the chakra system, yet the Shinju emerging from it become creatures that drain life from the world. In other words, something born from a life source turns into a threat to life itself. And here's another important point. In manga, character designs are often a mix of many references. Ikemoto could have drawn inspiration from roots, insects, armor, bones, animals, or other biological shapes just to create something unique. So seeing similarities between the Shinju and beetles doesn't automatically mean a specific species was used as a reference. There might not even be a connection at all. Maybe the Shinju were intentionally designed to look like insects simply because insects feel alien and non-human. If that's the reason, the design still works. The main goal wasn't to make us think, oh, that's a human. Quite the opposite. They're supposed to look like something that used to be human, but is now a completely different organism. Still, one thing keeps this theory interesting. The similarity isn't just in shape, but in concept. The Shinju come from the divine tree. The insects we compared them to are closely tied to trees. The Shinju drain life. Some tree-dwelling organisms also drain resources from trees. When you put all those elements side by side, you get a pattern that's at least worth questioning. We could even take this theory a step further. What if each Shinju is inspired by a different organism? Not that Jura is literally one species of beetle and Hidari is another, but maybe their designs pull different biological elements to reflect their characters or functions. By the way, shout out to Pei, because your comment was a super interesting reference for our discussion today. To me, the coolest part of that comment wasn't which insect is this Shinju, but the question that followed. Why were they made to look like tree-related organisms? Did Kishimoto and Ikemoto intentionally take inspiration from those insects? There's no confirmation so far, so we can't call it a fact for now. But if it's true, the Shinju designs might have a much deeper layer of symbolism than we thought, because maybe they aren't just humans turned into tree creatures. Maybe their designs were deliberately crafted like organisms that live off trees. What do you guys think? Is the Shinju's resemblance to tree-dwelling insects intentional, or are we all just overthinking and reading too far into Ikemoto's design? If there really is a biological reference behind them, I feel like we haven't scratched the surface of all the hidden details behind the Shinju, right? But again, let's discuss it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Nim without an E. See you in the next video. Bye-bye. Databayo.